Boundaries are not walls. They are doors that open with respect. And respect is not bought with age. It is built with love. The sound of the slap cut through the sitting room like a whip. Audrey's palm met my wife's cheek with a sharp crack, and Nkem's head turned to the side. Her earrings shook. The room went still. Plates on the side table rattled. Someone gasped. My mother covered her mouth. The wall clock kept ticking like nothing had happened. I was on my feet before the echo died. "Audrey," I said, my voice flat. "Don't move." Her hand hung in the air, fingers wide, chest rising and falling. My wife held her face, eyes shining with shock and pain. The family meeting we came for had just turned into a storm. My heart beat hard in my ears. A dozen eyes watched me. I reached into my pocket and wrapped my fingers around my phone. What I did next? No one in that room was ready for it. Grab your popcorn as we dive into this story in details. If you're new to this channel, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications to be the first to know when I post new stories. 2 days earlier, Lagos felt like it was pressing on my head. The sun over Yaba was hot and bright. Traffic stood like a long, tired snake on Herbert Macaulay Way. A Danfo bus honked, and the conductor shouted, "Sabo! Sabo!" The city always had a voice, even when I wished for quiet. I was at my desk in the open office where I worked in Ikeja when my phone buzzed. It was a message from our family group, Adebayo Family Meeting. The profile photos blinked up the thread. Mama, smiling in a wrapper. Audrey, in a yellow dress in front of her boutique. My younger brother Kunle, holding a baby boy. Audrey, family meeting, Sunday, 4 p.m. Surulere House. Important. Mama, yes, please come on time. Kunle, I will be there. Me, okay, I will come with Nkem. I set the phone down and rubbed my eyes. Meetings in our family were not new, but the word important from Audrey had a weight I could feel, even through the screen. I thought of the last time we all sat face to face at Kunle's son's naming ceremony, when Audrey had taken little jabs at my wife with a smile on her face. Nkem, you don't know how we do things in this family yet, she had said, still smiling. People laughed. Nkem only smiled back and thanked her for teaching. But I had seen the way my wife's fingers curled into her palm. At lunch, Nkem called. Her voice always slowed the world for me. "Femi," she said, "Mama called me this morning. She said Audrey wants a meeting because of the plan for her to stay with us for a while." I stepped away from the office noise, close to a window. "I thought Audrey wanted Mama to stay in Surulere," I said. "She wanted that," Nkem said softly. "But now, she says her place is full. Her friend is moving in. She said the only place that makes sense is our apartment in Yaba. Femi, I don't mind if Mama stays with us. You know I love her. I only asked if we could get a small nurse to help her once or twice a week. You know her sugar has been up and down." I watched a hawk circle above the busy street. "You asked a fair thing," I said. "Audrey did not like it?" She told me I am trying to control your family," Nkem said. I apologized if my words sounded wrong. "I only care for Mama's health." Time. I sat on the windowsill and closed my eyes. "We will talk on Sunday," I said. "I will drive. We will go together." Okay, she said. "I made okro tonight. Come home soon." The okro was bright and tasty that night, and Nkem's laughter filled our small kitchen. She wore her simple house dress and tied her hair in a scarf. She moved like a quiet song. We talked about small things. Water bill, the landlord's text, my office jokes. I did not want to bring Sunday into our evening, but it sat with us anyway. Like a shadow on the wall, Nkem touched my hand. "I don't want to be the reason you fight with your sister. You are not the reason," I said. "Pride is the reason. Old wounds are the reason. You are the one person who makes peace in all my corners." She smiled. "Then, promise me one thing. On Sunday, speak the truth, but speak it with calm." "I promise," I said. I meant it. Sunday came in a bright white shirt and a heavy sky. Rain threatened, even though the sun kept breaking through the clouds. We left Yaba at 3 and crawled through Ojuelegba traffic. The radio played soft gospel. Nkem sat beside me, holding a bag with fruit and Lucozade for Mama. Her eyes were steady. "Are you afraid?" I asked. "I am not afraid," she said. "I am careful." I smiled. Same thing, but braver. We reached our old Surulere house, a bungalow, an orange tree leaning over the fence, and the same crack on the front step from when Kunli and I had jumped from it as boys. The generator hummed. The smell of fried fish and pepper soup sat in the air. Children's laughter drifted from the backyard. Mama opened the door before I knocked. "Ah, Femi," she said, pulling me into a hug. "My son. My peace. Come in. Nkem. My beautiful daughter. Thank you for the fruit. God bless you." Kem hugged her gently. "Mama, I brought your favorite apples." Inside, the sitting room held our history. Old family photos on the wall, a TV with a lace cloth on it, the big brown couch with a sunk middle. Audrey was on the arm of the couch, wearing a fitted blue dress and red lipstick. Her hair shone. Kunli sat near the window, bouncing his baby with his knee. Auntie Grace from Mushin sat down with her handbag on her lap, already looking like she would soon say, "Children of nowadays, welcome," Audrey said, and smiled that smile that did not reach her eyes. "We have been waiting." "Good afternoon," Nkem said quietly. We all sat. Mama asked Kunle to pray. He prayed for peace, for love, for calm. He prayed like the room was a small ship, and he wanted God to be the captain. When he ended, we said, "Amen." Audrey cleared her throat. "Thank you all for coming," she said, taking the center like a host. "We have a small issue to discuss. Mama's care. Where she will stay. How we will share duties. We need to decide today." "That is good," I said. "We should plan well." Audrey nodded. "Yes, and we must also address something else." She turned to Nkem with a smooth tilt of her chin. "Because some people have been talking as if they now run this family." My jaw tightened. Kem kept her eyes on her hands. "Mama cannot stay with me now," Audrey went on. "My friend has moved into my second room." I told Nenkem nicely that Mama should go to their place in Yaba for some months. She refused and said we should hire a nurse like she is some madam. Nenkem looked up. "I did not refuse," she said carefully. "I said Mama is welcome. I suggested a nurse to help with her drugs and sugar checks because sometimes we both come home late. I did not want Mama to be alone in the house at that time. It was for safety." Audrey's smile widened. "Do you hear her? She is saying, I don't know how to take care of my own mother." "I did not say that," Nkem said. "I respect you. I only care for Mama's health." "Respect me?" Audrey laughed without humor. "Tell them what you told me on the phone about my choices. About my life." Nkem's hands shook a bit. "I said we need to plan together. That is all." Mama held up a hand. "Audrey, my daughter, please. Let us talk with calm." "Calm?" Audrey said, the word sharp. Where was calm when Kem told me I am jealous of her marriage? I sat forward. "Audrey, she never said that. Were you on the call?" Audrey shot back. "You were not." "I was not," I said. "But I know my wife well. I know her words." Audrey's eyes flashed. "Of course, you will defend your wife. That is why we are here. Since she came, you have changed. Mama calls, you say you are busy. Money for bills, you delay. You used to stand for family, now you stand for Nkem. She is the one running you." A low sound passed through the room, part pity, part fuel. Auntie Grace sighed and said, I felt the old pull in my chest, the string between pleasing my sister and protecting my home. I looked at Mama's hands, dry and soft. I thought of my wife waking at 5 a.m. to cook Mama's favorite soup when Mama stayed with us after her checkup. I thought of the night my wife washed Mama's headscarf by hand because the machine was faulty. "I stand for truth," I said slowly. "We all love Mama. We all want her safe. We can share nights. We can also get a nurse to check on her in the afternoon. It is not weakness to ask for help. Audrey leaned forward. You want to bring a stranger to watch our mother? A total stranger in the house? Over my dead body? Ha, a nurse is not a stranger, Nkem said, a line of hurt in her voice now. It is someone trained to help. Audrey's voice rose. Are you saying I cannot help? Are you calling me careless? I am not calling you careless, Nkem said. Please do not twist my words. Twist? Audrey stood up. You think you can come from your side and tell us how to live in our house? The room tightened. Kunle shifted in his seat. The baby fussed. Mama whispered, Please. I looked at my wife. In self, she met my eyes. In that short look, I saw last month when she gave Audrey her own gold bracelet to sell because Audrey said rent was tight. I saw the text message where Audrey later told me, Don't tell your wife I used the money for my shop lights. It was my right. I had swallowed that message and kept the peace. Maybe that was my mistake. My wife has been kind to this family, I said, steady. We should not treat her like an outsider. Who is we? Audrey asked, sharp as glass. You, I said, and sometimes me, and I am done with it. Silence fell like a heavy cloth. It did not last. Audrey pointed at Nkem. Stand up, she said. Stand up and tell us if you did not say, I am a problem to your marriage. Tell Mama to her face. Nkem stood slowly. I did not say that, she said. I said we must set boundaries, because we are starting our own family. Boundaries are not walls. They are doors that open with respect. Audrey took one step closer. The space between them was now small. My body tensed. So, we are the ones without respect, Audrey said. Is that what you are teaching my brother? I am not teaching him to hate you, Nkem said, voice soft but clear. I am asking him to love us all with wisdom. Wisdom, Audrey repeated. Her jaw worked. Here is my own wisdom. Her hand moved so fast that if I had blinked, I would have missed it. The slap landed. Kem's breath caught. A sharp red mark bloomed on her cheek. Mama screamed. Audrey. Kunle stood, shocked. The baby started crying. Auntie Grace half rose, then sat, eyes wide. I was already moving. I stepped between them. Audrey, I said, low, do not raise your hand again. She lifted her chin. What will you do? Hit me? In Mama's house? Her eyes dared me. I did not answer her dare. I turned my head just enough to see Nkem. Her eyes were wet but steady. She shook her head once, a small plea. My hands were hot. Rage beat at my ribs, asking to be let out. But behind the rage, another voice spoke calm, cool, and heavy with something I had been carrying since yesterday afternoon in the car, outside Audrey's shop in Yaba, when I had gone there to beg her. Let us talk with peace. Let us agree before Sunday. She had laughed and told her friend on the phone, thinking I was not listening, that she would scatter everything so that Nkem will know that blood is thicker than water. I had recorded it, not to shame her, to protect the truth if I needed to. Now, I reached into my pocket and took out my phone. The room shifted around me. The generator hummed. Rain began at last, soft on the roof. Mama wiped her eyes. Please, she whispered. I looked at her, then at Kunle, then at Auntie Grace, who clutched her handbag like a lifebuoy. I looked at Audrey, whose mouth was set like a locked gate. I looked at my wife and saw not just pain, but a line of steel. She did not want me to break the family. She wanted me to stand in truth. I unlocked the phone. My thumb shook once, then became steady. Audrey, I said, my voice clear. If you say I change, you're right, because my wife is the bone of my bone. Today, I will no longer cover what should be brought to light. Her eyes narrowed. What do you mean? I held the phone up so every eye could see it. Yesterday, in your car, you said some things. I asked you to stop. You did not stop. I asked you to think of Mama. You did not care. You said you would scatter the meeting today. I swallowed. I am going to play it. What? Audrey's laugh was thin. Play what? You will embarrass me? In front of Mama? In my father's house, truth is not embarrassment, I said. Truth is medicine. Sometimes it is bitter. Her face changed something quick, a flicker, fear hidden under pride. Don't you dare, she said. I looked at Mama. Tears ran down her face. My son, she said softly, do what will bring peace, not fire. I bowed my head for one slow breath. Peace and fire, sometimes the same flame, sometimes not. The room waited. The rain grew louder. I lifted my head. Everyone, I said, stepping back so they could see me and hear me. Please listen to this. If after you hear it, you still think my wife is the problem, I will take any blame you put on me. But let truth speak first. I pressed my thumb on the screen. The little triangle turned white. The sound crackled to life. And the first voice that came out of my phone was Audrey's, clear, sharp, and about to set the room on a different path. Audrey's voice filled the sitting room, thin but sharp through the phone's speaker. I don't care what Tunde thinks. I will scatter everything on Sunday so that Nkem will know that blood is thicker than water. She thinks she can come from her side and change how we do things here, over my dead body. Mama will see it with her own eyes, who really loves her and who is only pretending. The recording ended. The silence that followed was heavier than any shouting could have been. Even the baby stopped fussing, as though the child knew the air had changed. Mama's hands shook on her lap. Kunle blinked hard, shifting his son from one arm to the other. Auntie Grace coughed softly, her handbag pressed against her chest like a shield. My wife, Nkem, stood still, the red mark from Audrey's slap, glowing like proof no one could deny. Audrey's face went pale, then dark, then pale again. Her lips trembled before she forced them into a tight smile. So this is what you've done, Femi, she said, her voice trembling. You recorded me? Your own sister? Not to shame you, I said, my throat tight but steady. To keep the truth safe. You said you wanted to scatter this family. I cannot let you do that. Audrey's voice cracked, rising higher. Scatter? Do you know what I have done for this family? When you were in school, who paid Mama's market levy when Papa was gone? Who closed my shop to follow Mama to the hospital? Who? I cut in, my chest burning. Who turned kindness into insult? The room held its breath. Audrey's eyes flashed. So, it has come to this. You choose her over us. I turned fully to her. I did not choose her over us. I chose her with us. You are the one who wants to draw the line. You are the one slapping peace in the face. Mama's voice broke through, trembling but strong. Enough. She pressed both palms against her knees and struggled to her feet. The room quieted instantly. She stood there, small and bent by age, but her eyes burned like when we were children, and she caught us lying about who broke the lantern. My children, she said, her voice shaking with anger and pain. Do you know how it feels to see two people you gave life to fighting like strangers? Audrey. Mama turned, her eyes hard. You slapped your brother's wife in my presence. You raised your hand against the woman who cooks for me, washes my clothes, and never complains when I keep her awake with my stories. Shame on you. Audrey's eyes widened. Mama, don't mama me. Mama snapped. If you had listened, you would have seen that Nkem was not pushing you aside. She was protecting me. Since when did protecting become an insult? Tears rolled down Audrey's cheeks, but her chin stayed lifted. So now I am the villain. Everything is always Audrey's fault. No one called you a villain, Mama said. Softer now. But pride is eating you alive. Pride will destroy this family if you let it. Audrey turned away, folding her arms tight, staring at the wall like it had answers. Nkem took a slow breath, then stepped forward. Her voice was calm, even though her cheek was still burning. Audrey, she said quietly, I never wanted war with you. You are my sister now, and I honor that, but I will not let anyone treat me like dirt. Not even you. Respect is not bought with age. It is built with love. The room felt like it tilted. Audrey's shoulders stiffened, but her eyes glistened as she blinked. For a moment, she seemed unsure of what to say. Then, before she could open her mouth, Auntie Grace leaned forward, clearing her throat. "Children," she said, her voice sharp like chalk on a board. "If you don't settle this now, one day outsiders will laugh at this family. A slap today, tomorrow it will be worse. Is this how you want to shame your late father's name?" Her words sank like stones in water. Even Kunle, who had been quiet, finally spoke. "This is not right," he said, his voice heavy. "Audrey, we love you. But you crossed a line today. And Femi," he turned to me, "playing that recording, you have opened wounds. But maybe they needed to be opened." I nodded slowly, my eyes on Audrey. She still wouldn't look at me. Then Mama whispered, "Audrey, you will apologize to Nkem. Today, in front of everyone." The words dropped like a hammer. The room froze again. Audrey's head snapped toward Mama. Her face caught between anger and disbelief. "Apologize?" she repeated, her voice low and sharp. "To her?" "Yes," Mama said firmly. "Right here, right now." Audrey's lips parted, but no words came. Her fingers tapped against her arm. She looked at me, then at Nkem, then back at Mama. The silence stretched, thick and heavy. And just as Audrey opened her mouth, her phone rang loudly on the table. We all turned toward it. The name flashing on the screen made Audrey's eyes widen with fear. She snatched the phone, her voice breaking as she whispered, I have to take this." She rushed toward the kitchen, pressing the phone to her ear, her face pale as paper. The rest of us stared after her. The atmosphere shifted again, confusion settling into the room like smoke. Nkem touched my arm gently. Mama's brows furrowed deeply. The room fell into a tense silence, every ear straining toward the sound of Audrey's muffled voice in the kitchen. What she said next would change everything. Audrey's voice floated from the kitchen, low and hurried, as if she was trying not to be heard. But the walls of Mama's old Surulere house were thin, and every word carried like whispers through paper. We all sat frozen in the sitting room. The rain outside had become steady, beating on the roof with a rhythm that matched the unease in my chest. Nkem sat beside me, her hands folded in her lap, her cheeks still red from the slap. Mama lowered herself slowly back into her chair, her fingers trembling as she gripped the armrest. Kunle rocked his baby gently, though his eyes kept darting toward the kitchen door. Auntie Grace's face was a storm of suspicion, her lips pressed so tight that her mouth disappeared into a straight line. From the kitchen, Audrey's voice rose slightly. "No, I told you I'll handle it. Just give me a little more time. Please, don't call me again when I'm with my family." Then silence. We exchanged glances in the sitting room. Mama shifted uncomfortably. Kunle frowned. My wife lowered her eyes, as if she wished she could disappear into herself. When Audrey finally returned, she looked like she had aged 5 years in those few minutes. Her face was pale under her makeup, her lipstick smudged slightly, and her hands wouldn't stop fidgeting with her phone. "Sorry," she said quickly, her eyes darting from one person to the other. "It was business." Nobody answered her, Mama's gaze fixed on her daughter with a weight that felt heavier than the rain outside. "Business does not make a person tremble like that," she said softly. "What are you hiding, Audrey?" "I am not hiding anything," Audrey snapped, but her voice cracked halfway through. "Then why will you not look me in the eye?" Mama pressed, her frail frame straightening as though the chair itself gave her strength. Audrey's arms folded tightly across her chest. She finally met Mama's gaze, but there was defiance there, not honesty. "Must every detail of my life be dragged out here?" she said bitterly. "You all treat me like the problem, like I am the black sheep of this family. Femi records my voice. His wife acts like a saint." Kunle's head snapped up. "Don't drag me into this, Audrey. You slapped my brother's wife in Mama's house. Nobody forced your hand to do that. You don't understand." Audrey's voice shook. She turned to me, her eyes bright with unshed tears. "Femi, you think I hate your wife, but it's not her. It's not even you. I've been carrying things I cannot say." "Then say them," I said quietly. Her lips trembled. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Instead, she turned sharply and looked away, her arms tightening even more around herself. Mama leaned forward. "Audrey, my daughter, secrets destroy faster than lies. If there is something pressing you, speak it here. This is your blood, your family." For the first time since the slap, Audrey's shoulders dropped. She looked tired, worn, like the weight of the world had been pressing on her back, and she could no longer stand straight. Her voice, when it came, was barely a whisper. "You all think I'm proud, but I am just scared." Scared of what?" I asked, my tone gentler this time. She hesitated, her eyes glistening. "Scared of losing everything. Scared that if I admit the truth, none of you will see me the same way again." The room went completely still. Even the rain seemed to hush, as though Lagos itself leaned in to listen. My wife spoke for the first time since Audrey returned from the kitchen. Her voice was calm but firm. "Audrey, nobody here is your enemy. But the longer you hold back, the more you hurt yourself. And us." Audrey's lips parted as if to answer, but then she shook her head quickly, blinking back tears. "You won't understand," she whispered. "None of you will understand." And before any of us could say another word, she suddenly stood, grabbed her handbag, and walked toward the door. "Where are you going?" Mama called, panic rising in her tone. "Anywhere but here," Audrey muttered, her voice breaking. "Before I say something I can never take back." She pulled the door open, and a gust of cold, rain-filled air swept into the room. For a brief moment, the sight of her standing there in the doorway, half in the shadows, half in the light, looked like the picture of a woman running from her own reflection. She stepped outside, letting the door slam behind her. The room remained silent, except for the steady drumming of the rain. Nkem leaned close to me and whispered, "My love, what if the phone call has something to do with the truth she's hiding?" I couldn't answer. All I knew was that the storm we had just seen was only the beginning. The rain outside poured heavier now, thick and loud, as if Lagos itself wanted to wash something away. For a moment, no one in the sitting room moved. We just stared at the door. Audrey had slammed shut, each of us trapped in our own thoughts. Mama's breathing grew uneven. She pressed her palm against her chest. "We cannot leave her out there in this rain," she said, her voice trembling. Not in her state of mind. I stood immediately. "I'll go." But before I could take a step, Nkem's hand touched my arm. Her eyes searched mine, steady despite the sting of her cheek. "Don't go in anger," she whispered. "Go in love. Even if she rejects it." I nodded, her words anchoring me. Then I pulled the door open and stepped into the rain. The compound was half drowned. Water ran along the gutters, splashing against the orange tree roots. Audrey stood at the far end, just by the gate, her dress clinging to her body, her hair plastered to her face. She was crying, but the rain disguised most of it. "Audrey," I called, my voice echoing over the rain. She turned, her eyes red, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. "Go back inside, Femi. Leave me alone." I walked closer, each step heavy with both rain and tension. "I can't leave you like this," I said. "You are my sister." Her laugh was bitter, hollow. "Sister, you stood in that room and chose her over me. You played a recording like I was a criminal. You exposed me." "I didn't expose you," I said softly. "I protected the truth. And the truth is slapping my wife, tearing this family apart. It isn't you, Audrey. This bitterness isn't you. What are you really fighting? What is behind all this anger?" For the first time, she met my eyes without flinching, and what I saw there wasn't pride anymore. It was fear. A fear so raw, it looked like a child's. "You think I hate your wife?" she said, her voice shaking. "No, I envy her. I envy the way she's respected, the way she makes things look so easy. And She broke off, clutching her bag tighter. "I've been drowning, Femi. Drowning in things I cannot control." My chest tightened. "Talk to me," I urged. "Let me carry some of it." She shook her head violently. "You can't. Nobody can. If you knew." She trailed off, then wiped her face with a trembling hand. That call in the kitchen, it wasn't business. It was someone reminding me of a debt. Debt? I repeated. Her lips trembled. Yes. I thought I could hide it. But now, she clutched her bag even tighter, her knuckles white. She said she is in town, and if I don't pay, she'll come here, to Mama's house, to all of us. My blood ran cold. Who is she, Audrey? Before she could answer, the front door creaked open behind me. Mama and Enkem stood in the doorway, their eyes wide, rain mist clinging to their clothes. Kunle followed, carrying the baby with one hand under an umbrella. Even Auntie Grace had stepped out, peering nervously at Audrey. Say it here, Mama said firmly, her voice carrying through the storm. Let the rain hear it. Let the walls hear it. My daughter, what have you gotten yourself into? Audrey's face crumpled, her pride breaking like clay in the rain. She fell to her knees in the mud, her blue dress staining instantly. Her cry tore through the compound, raw and unguarded. I borrowed money from someone I should never have done. She wailed. Not banks. Not friends. Someone who you all know. I thought I could fix my shop, expand, and then pay back. But business failed. I couldn't pay. Now she's threatening me, threatening all of us. The rain swallowed her sobs, but every word struck like thunder. Mama staggered, her hand gripping the doorframe. Nkem gasped, covering her mouth. Kunle muttered a prayer under his breath. And me? My fists clenched at my sides, rage and fear colliding in my chest. Because in that moment, I understood this wasn't just Audrey's secret anymore. It was a storm about to consume the whole family. As the rain poured harder, Audrey lifted her head, her tears mixing with the water running down her face. She said if I don't give her something by Friday, she'll come for me. The compound fell silent, except for the rain. And then loud, sharp, almost on cue, a knock thundered on the compound gate. We all froze. Audrey's face drained of color. The thunderous knock on the gate echoed through the compound, mixing with the pounding rain. All of us froze. Even the baby in Kunle's arms stopped fussing, his wide eyes staring at the gate, as if he too sensed the danger. Audrey's breath came in quick bursts. She shook her head wildly. Mama whispered a prayer under her breath, clutching her wrapper tighter around her. Nkem moved closer to me, her fingers gripping my arm. I could feel the tremble in her hands. Another knock louder this time. Bam, bam, bam. I stepped forward, my heart pounding like a drum inside my chest. Stay here, I said firmly. All of you. Kunle's voice cut in, shaky but determined. You're not opening that gate alone, Femi. We face this together. Slowly, I walked to the gate, Kunle just behind me, holding the umbrella over us both. My palms were wet, not just from the rain, but from the sweat of fear. I pulled the latch open, and the gate creaked as I swung it wide. Standing outside was not the group of rough-looking men I had expected. It was one woman, tall, beautiful, dressed in a sleek black suit, with a gold necklace glinting even in the dim rain. Her makeup was perfect, untouched by the weather. She held an umbrella with practiced elegance, and beside her stood a driver in dark shades. I knew that face instantly. My heart dropped into my stomach. Amara, I breathed. My ex, the one who had broken me years ago, who had left for Canada without a second glance, chasing wealth and status. The one my family, especially Audrey, had once adored because of her wealthy background. She smiled faintly, her eyes locking onto mine like a predator spotting prey. Hello, Femi. Long time. Behind me, I heard the gasp. Audrey's voice trembled as she rushed forward into the rain, falling almost to her knees before Amara. Please, don't do this here. I told you I'll find a way. Please, give me more time. Amara's eyes didn't leave mine. You know your sister owes me, Femi, quite a lot. And unlike others, I don't let debts slide. She tilted her head, her smile sharp. Funny, isn't it? That after all these years, destiny brings us back together like this. I clenched my fists. Why, Audrey? Of all people? Amara laughed softly, almost like a hiss. Because she came to me. She came begging for money when her precious boutique was failing. Not just because of business, but because Her eyes flicked to Enkem, standing under the doorway, drenched in the rain, but unbroken. Because I wanted to remind you what you lost. Audrey broke then, sobbing into her wet hands. I liked her, Femi. More than I ever liked Ifeoma. Not because she was better, but because she came from a wealthy background that could help our family. I thought if you had married Amara, we would all be lifted. I hated Nkem because she came from nothing. She wasn't the dream I wanted for you. Or for me. Her words tore through the rain like knives. Kem flinched, her hand pressed against her heart, her eyes glistening. I turned to Audrey slowly, my jaw tight. So you slapped my wife because of envy? Because she wasn't born into gold? Audrey sobbed harder, shaking her head. I'm sorry. I just thought, but my attention snapped back to Amara, who stepped closer, her heels splashing in the mud. I'm not here for drama, Femi. I want what I'm owed. 5 million naira. By Friday. Or Mama. Here. She gestured toward the doorway, where Mama stood, trembling. We'll regret it. That was it. The line crossed. My blood burned hot. I stepped forward, rain soaking me to the bone. My voice was low, steady, and sharp enough to cut steel. Amara, listen to me carefully. You will not threaten my family. Not today, not ever. If Audrey owes you, I'll find a way to settle it, but you will leave Mama out of this. And you will stop using my sister's fear as your weapon. Amara smirked, but there was a flicker in her eyes. Just a flicker that showed she hadn't expected this side of me. You've changed, she said, her smile tight. The old Femi would have begged. This one fights. I took one step closer, my eyes locked on hers. Yes. Because I have something worth fighting for now. A wife who loves me for me. A family that needs healing, not chains. You had your chance years ago, Amara. You walked away. You don't get to walk back into my life as a curse. Behind me, Mama's voice rang out, cracked but powerful. And you, Audrey, my daughter. Listen well. Wealth without respect is emptiness. Love without peace is poison. If you ever lift your hand against Nkem again, you will not only lose your brother, you will lose me too. Audrey's cries turned to wails, her body shaking in the mud. I'm sorry, Mama. I'm sorry, Femi. Nkem. She crawled toward Nkem, her hands clasped. Forgive me. Please forgive me. Nkem, tears streaming down her cheeks, bent down and lifted her gently. I forgive you, she whispered, her voice breaking. Not because of what you did, but because peace is bigger than pride. The rain slowed, as if even the heavens were listening. Amara stared at us all, her expression unreadable. Then she sighed, snapped her fingers at her driver, and turned to leave. Friday, she said coldly. I'll be waiting. The car door slammed, and they drove off into the storm. In the silence that followed, I held Nkem close, feeling the strength of her heart beating against mine. Audrey knelt beside us, broken but repentant. Mama closed her eyes and whispered, Thank you, Lord, for showing us truth in the rain. And as I stood there, soaked and trembling but unshaken, I realized this. Family is not built on wealth or pride. It is built on truth, forgiveness, and the courage to stand for those you love, even when the storm comes knocking at your gate. What is your view about this story? Where are you watching from? Do well to let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more interesting stories. Stay blessed.